Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and those friendly folks over at Oknife, which is a cutlery division of Olight, have been quiet lately, but they have been busy, and here is one of their new releases. This is the U1 Ultra. It is the next level take on the utility knife. Now, they've been making utility knives for quite a while. Here's one of the early OAL Pros, super thin titanium. You can see it's got a screwdriver here, a locking mechanism to keep it closed, a bottle opener. They had variations of it of different colors using these G10 scales. Here's the donut sprinkles one. They moved up to what felt like a fairly traditional size pocket knife using this axis lock or this bar lock. One of the things that people talked about, there were two main ones, but one of them was this screw here. This was designed to be operated by hand. It can be operated by hand if you're fairly strong and it's not too tight. Well, in the new ones, they provide this tool here. Of course, you can use pliers. I've used two pieces of wood just pushed together. You can also use this. It's kind of a little knurled thing, and then that allows you to move this. Well, now with the Oknife U1 Ultras here, you've got a full-fledged flipper. So you have two deployment methods. They don't have the axis lock. Instead, they've got the push-button lock, which a lot of companies are going to. And you can deploy it like that. You can deploy it just by pulling it out. Or, of course, there's the flipper thumb stud there. Not as good on this one. There you go. And then, of course, what I usually do is use the flipper lever there. They are using the OAL or Olight aluminum. It's their proprietary super, hyper strong aluminum. And they also have a titanium version here. I'll get to that in a second, but let's take a look at the three variations so you can see two different colorways with the OAL and then the naked titanium. Obviously, that is a ceramic blade up there. Now, that was the other thing people talked about, is could they put a ceramic blade? And the original one was fairly narrow throughout, and if you tried to put like a slice blade in it, you couldn't, like this kind of a ceramic blade, and in fact, you still can't. So what they did was they came out with their own, ultra sharp, ultra sharp ceramic blade. But of course, it also takes most of your favorite traditional double-sided utility knife blades. I say most of your favorites. Some people are into using like carpet cutters, or these kinds of blades. This one is still too thick. So perhaps keep looking if you're after a knife that does that. Now, the ceramic blades in these are incredibly sharp. In fact, they're also fairly durable, compared to the traditional kind of a whatever standard metal ones, although I do like the Fiskars or the Lennox, although the Lennox I've discovered are rusting on me. But anyway, for example, this is a Work Pro blade here. I can stick that in and try to cut out the shape here. Not bad. So that's with a brand new traditional metal blade. Now here is a ceramic blade, one of the Olight. Oh no, I guess let me turn it around so you can see the branding on it. There it is, the Oknife right there. Maybe you can't see the branding when it's out. Nope, gets covered. Interesting. So go in here again. Look at that. I mean, it's just like cutting through paper. It can mess up the blade, but see, look at that. Another thing I noticed is I was opening some packages, and like here is kind of this this heavy plastic on this Milwaukee tool here. Watch this. I can just stick this in, and this is after cutting a metal, you know, a pop can. It just slices through this like butter. Look at that. Can you believe that? Look at how fast that just cuts. Even just playing around. You know, we've got to be a little careful here because it will cut through things. You can see little, I mean, it's like a knife sharpener with the ceramic, but in great shape. This is the one that I really beat on. Tried a bunch of different things, and I did damage the blade. Comes with one blade. You can see that, but it's still razor sharp. You're trying to slice through something. You know, so that's what I mean by kind of like next level. Get this out of here. Fiber line shears. So look at that. Try that with your traditional knife. Just shreds these things. If you're careful. Shred you. Pull this off. I mean, instead of cutting paper, I can just cut up, you know, the plastic here using a fairly dull, or excuse me, fairly used blade. Just slices right through this stuff. Wonder if I can shave it. Look at that. Instead of cutting paper, I'm just slicing up plastic, just like wood, just whittling it away. That's pretty incredible. Make a mess here. Try that. Wonder if I can do it this way while I'm here. Look at that. Let's see. Look at that. I could make a plastic fire stick. Look at that. Isn't that wild? I can just shave apart the plastic. Anyway, now next thing is I picked up the titanium one here, and it felt a little heavier than the traditional OAL one. And I looked on the package, and I was looking at here's the navy one. What do they call this? The stealth gray. Kind of looks more like olive. I don't know. But anyway, you see this. It says 2.26 ounces, or, well, focus that thing, 64 grams. Same here, 64 grams, 2.26 ounces. But when I put them on the scale, here is the OAL version. Drop that on there. I've got 63.8 ounces, and this thing here said 64, I mean not ounces, excuse me, grams. 64 grams, 63.8 grams, so quite close. But here's the titanium one. If I go to the titanium box, titanium, 64, same thing, but this one's 82.7. So this is almost 20 grams heavier, and it feels like that. I'm not sure where all the weight is. Got to get a running start on this one. There we go. But overall, next level. These are great. Got to be careful. I like the pocket clip, simple design. It is a very stout pocket clip, so you might need to wear it in a little bit, or give it a stretch if you've got a thick seam over your pocket. And then I don't mind this. Some people want like something that you'd need a dedicated wrench, but I think a lot of things will open this, and that included little wrench. Works fine, but you can use almost anything to crack one of these open. It is a stout, heavy feeling, dense feeling. Very nice. Next level utility knife. Is my favorite? It's right in there. You know, a lot of people, this is one I usually bring out. A lot of people talk about this being, not available in their jurisdiction. I did notice one other thing. You can't pull with this. So if I was really kind of wrenching on a box or something and I got it in and I was yanking, this piece moves. Now it's okay, but there is some other activity going on. So if I was trying to do something kind of precise and I wanted to you know, pull out the blade with a little bit more precision, well, the out the front, but that's kind of a classic with the knives. They're designed with other out the front knives, they're designed to go forward. But anyway, so there it is. We've got several variations of this thing, and I believe it is available now. So choosing which one might be the hard part. Let me know your thoughts. And with that, Doc out.